Ghosts of Tsushima. On the PlayStation 4. Final. Completely done. 53 hours of pure gameplay to get it done. A week and a half. Close to, I think actually it took us 2 weeks overall since the launch of the game, but we got it done. Ghosts of Tsushima is a 41 gigabyte game. Just let that sink in. Especially if you have been watching me play this game since the very beginning on the PlayStation 4 Pro. It's a 41 gigabyte installation file. That's that's really small. For what you see in the game, that's really small. And that took, I thought I would need to delete stuff on my hard drive. I honestly did. They launched 5 editions. The $170 collector's edition, the £70 special edition with the digital deluxe edition, the launch edition for $60, and the standard edition for $60 as well. I got mine for $42.61, courtesy of shop2.net. That's where I get all my new games from. But that's going to change going forward, I think, because with the coronavirus, there haven't been a lot of new releases being pushed out, and because of that, I haven't been able to buy any new games, and that's caused my gold membership to go down to a silver, which means I don't get the same discounts anymore, and I don't think they ship it out early for me anymore as well. So I'm most likely going to stick it on. I'm most likely going to stick the majority of my games on my Amazon wish list for people to see the pre-orders that I'm going for when they're available. If I miss a game, I can stick it on that list. I have made it into a command as well. I've got my tech upgrades, my monitor upgrades and stuff like that on there, just in case people are curious at what I'm going to upgrade next and what games I'm going to go for next. But Ghosts of Tsushima. The very first thing that we're going to analyze and break down, which is the same thing that we do in every other review to make it fair and unbiased, so we're always saying the same stuff for every single game, is that we look at the choice of music used in games. I'm a massive fan of soundtracks. Video game soundtracks will always hook me, especially if they are done so magnificently well, because in my opinion, an incredible soundtrack can make or break a video game. Pure and simple. You could have a fantastic game with a really rotten soundtrack and it could really kill the mood for the game itself, or vice versa. You could have a crappy game but an incredible soundtrack that keeps you going. So the soundtrack for Ghost of Tsushima was breathtaking. Was absolutely breathtaking in every sense. The free roam ambient music that they play, the assault music that they play, the combat music, and even the boss fight music that they play as well. I cannot fault it in any way, shape, or form. This soundtrack is phenomenal. It really is, and it's pretty much about 90% pure Japanese style music. Lots of flute playing, and it fits the aura of the game. And hands down, you did an incredible job, Sucker Punch, with the soundtrack. Thank you for the experience of that soundtrack. It was great. It was amazing. We also look at voice acting and the effects within the game itself. Now, the voice acting, there is a lot of it because there is so much dialogue in this game. There are so many interactions between your character, your companions, your allies that you run around with, and also the enemies that you're playing in the game as well. And the voice acting is so well done. It is so crisp and it's so crystal clear. I cannot fault this. I can't fault the voice acting in any way. The voice acting for Jin was great. Very Japanese, very musky, deep Japanese voice, and I loved it. So I can't fault it. I can't knock any points off. I found no issues with it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it all, 100%. So we're going to move straight on. The next thing that we're going to look into is graphics, texturing, and weather effects. Now, we can talk about weather effects in this game. Some games do not have weather elements in them, so we can't talk about it then. But in this instance, this game has a breathtaking weather system in it. The thunder, the lightning, you can actually see it in the distance as well. The crackling of the thunder and the big roar as well. I'm a massive fan of thunderstorms. I really am. And every single time I was in a thunderstorm, I got excited, goosebumps, and hyped up. The graphics and the texturing in this game, I can't fault it. I really can't. I know this game isn't super high 4K quality, but on my 4K TV, it looked absolutely stunning in a lot of the areas in this game. There are a lot of open fields that you get to ride your horse in, and the color contrast and the trees that are molting beautiful red leaves or pink. It's just, I'm telling you right now, this is one of the best looking games I've played in a very long time. It took my breath away when I got into Act 2 and I got to explore further in the mountains, and then I got into Act 3 when it was snowing and we were riding at nighttime and the moon was coming up and the stars were fucking shining and there was fog like blowing across the snow ground. It was just breathtaking to look at. This game has a fantastic camera feature that you just push right on the D-pad and it goes into camera mode, allowing you to take photographs whenever you want to out and about. And it is probably one of the most awesome features that you can quickly gain access to and take gorgeous pictures. If you go onto their Twitter, you will find loads of photos that people are taking right now of Jin the samurai on his horse, or just the open scenery, or some of the action that's going on. It looks absolutely stunning. I've been told I need to drink more when I'm talking too much. So in terms of graphics, texturing, and weather effects, I can't fault it at all. Didn't find any issues whatsoever within those categories. The game looked absolutely breathtaking, and I have to bow at Sucker Punch again, because you know, you've got massive companies out there like Capcom, like Activision, Bethesda and stuff like that, and this is a company, Sucker Punch, and the two game series that I'm aware that they did was Infamous on the PlayStation 3 and Sly, which was a very old PlayStation title itself. To go from that to this, you guys absolutely crushed it. 100%. Well done. Good job. I wish I could pat you all on the back. You did a phenomenal job. Thank you. The next thing that we're going to look into, gameplay and mechanics. Now, the gameplay, when we first started the game, we had people coming into our Twitch stream saying, what's the game like? What does it play like? And at the time, I was trying to pull elements from a few different game titles to summarize what you're experiencing while you're playing Ghost of Tsushima. So the very first thing that I noticed, it were the climbing, the free roam aspect of it, the jumping was very Assassin's Creed like, very like the Lord of the Rings games, the Shadow of Mordor and stuff like that. The climbing was extremely similar to all of that. The combat system was very Assassin's Creed like, mixed in with a dodging, countering system similar to games like Batman. The investigations that you do from time to time at certain areas was also very Batman-like as well, where you're trying to solve the mystery of what happened in certain areas. The game combat style is very close as well, especially with its Japanese essence. It's very similar to Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. But this game doesn't punish you like Sekiro does, where if you die, you drop your souls at the time and you have to try and recover it and blah, 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 blah. So there are loads of different elements of games combined together to make this just fantastic game. And even now with 53 hours of full completion, it was an experience. It really was. It was a fantastic experience. I'm not going to knock it whatsoever. The gameplay at times was very, very smooth. The executions were very smooth. The climbing can be a little bit janky. I'm definitely going to say that. Sometimes your character would jump and miss what you were trying to throw your hook shot at, even though it's right in front of your face. Or you would try and jump on a branch that was sticking out, and your character would just completely overshot it or undershot it and just fall to his death. So the climbing mechanics are a bit finicky for sure. That's one thing I'm definitely going to say, and that's something that I also notice in a lot of similar game franchises that use those sort of climbing mechanics. They can be pretty finicky at times. But I didn't notice any broken textures. I didn't notice any missing textures. The scenery always took my breath away. It really did. Even when you're just staring out into the ocean and you're watching the waves coming in. I can't fault the game's graphics. I can't fault the weather effects because I fell in love with it. With the thunder, the lightning, the rain, the snow, the fire. It was all breathtaking. It really was. So no faults in my mind, other than the janky climbing, which could be a bit. But with the combat mechanics, they were pretty simplified. I'm not gonna lie. I wore cloth armor the majority of the time, which had no health boost, no attack boost or defense boost, but it allowed me to open up the map 30% faster because the game is huge and the 3 parts of the map are massive and very large. So I wanted to open up the map as fast as I possibly could. So I used pretty much the cloth armor to do so. I upgraded it to the maximum. But there were a few combat mechanics that were also very janky as well. I used a lot of charms that would benefit my combat and would help ease the parrying, the dodge, evasion and stuff like that. And after a while, it became extremely simple to do. I played the game fully on normal difficulty. And I did not really find it difficult at all. I found it pretty easy. I'm not going to lie. I could probably do this game on hard. Without too much stressing, I'm not gonna lie, but it was great. the combat was good. I've got a lot of notes written down, which are going to cover some of the subjects that we're already talking about, to give you guys a bit more in depth with this review to help you. So we'll move straight on. Replayability and game difficulty. Does this game offer a vast amount of replayability or any replayability at all? And it's a hard question to answer because I done a whole playthrough and nearly 100%ed the game on my first run. The game does give you the opportunity at the end of it to go back and clear some of the stuff that you might have missed, try to find the majority of the collectibles that you might have missed. So there is replayability in terms of the collectibles, yes. In terms of the overall game, you would have to start a brand new playthrough, and I'll be honest, with the 52 hours that I put into this game, I can't see myself playing this game again anytime soon, because I definitely feel I got the full use of the game. I really do. And I think I was on, if I remember right, 91% trophy unlocked. There was only a few small trophies that I'd missed, and I know what some of them are, and I'm not going to say because one of them is definitely going to be heavy spoilers, and I don't want to do that to you guys. I always try to keep my reviews spoiler free because it's the more respectable way of doing it, I feel. So the replayability is definitely within the game. If you are a collectible hunter and you love doing all the collections and all the trophies, it's definitely in the game itself. The game doesn't leave you at a point where you can't do anything. You're just like, ha, there you go, you're done, bye. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to go back, because I know there are people out there who are trophy hunters and they'll probably try to platinum the game, most likely platinum the whole game. Game difficulty, already scratched on that, so we'll move straight on. Any game customization and stats building. The game does have quite a bit of customizing throughout the game itself. You start off with a cloth set, which is the set I spoke about previously, and as you go through the story, you unlock lots of hats, lots of masks, armor sets, cosmetic skins for your bows, for your swords. So there is a lot. there's quite a few armor sets as well in the game, so good luck trying to find them all. There are some really awesome looking sets out there, and what's wicked about the game is every time you upgrade your stuff, it changes image, which is also great to see. You'll see how your armor set used to look, and as you upgrade it, it molds it into a much more bigger, badass armor set. And some of the sets look terrifying to wear. Some of them look stupid, but some of them look terrifying to wear, especially for the enemies that you're slicing and dicing. So in terms of customizing, there is a lot there. Stats building, as you go throughout the game, you pretty much level up, so to speak. Your character doesn't level up. You gain honor points, which fill your bars up, and every time you fill a certain bar, you get a token, and you get to spend that token on learning new moves within your stances. You can upgrade your abilities. You can upgrade your throwing weapons as well, like making your bombs stronger, making your daggers stronger, making your blowpipe stronger, and stuff like that. So there is quite a lot of stats building. It's not done like an RPG though, where you can level up your health, your strength, your defense, or stuff like that. That's all left to charms that you find throughout your adventure. You can equip 2 gold, and I think it's 4 or 5 silver charms, which are like minor charms. They're not as strong as gold, but I found a really wicked balance that allowed me to basically regenerate health every time I did a kill within the game. So it aided my combat very, very, very easily, which kept my health at maximum quite a lot of the times. Or if I did have to heal, I had a charm that pushed my resolve up really quickly. And resolve is like an Estus drink, like from Dark Souls. You pump yourself up and you heal. That's what you're basically doing. You're bro fisting your chest and you're recovering, which I found really weird, but funny at the same time. Story, if applicable. If applicable. This is a story game. Very heavily story driven. And it got emotional. There were a lot of twists, a lot of turns. There were some things that you knew was going to happen. If you're pretty good at figuring things out, if you're pretty good at knowing what's to come, and you're a type of person who sees goals and all the objectives in the future and what could possibly happen, or you analyze individuals that you come into contact with and you listen to what they say, you hear their speech, their body language and stuff like that, and you're like, something's off about this person. If you're really good at seeing that stuff, you're going to know what's going to happen in a few bits of the game itself. I wouldn't really say it's spoiling the game for you, but there are some really stupid decisions done within the game itself that I'm very sure no human would have made that decision. I think the writing and some of the decision making was poorly done. But that's not a lot. I'm talking very small parts of the game itself. The overall story was just fantastic. It's all about Japanese samurai honor. It is the honor of the samurai. And again, I'm not going to go into any spoilers whatsoever. But you're basically building up your reputation. You're building up your honor. And I thought it was breathtaking to play. The story does get pretty hard feelings at times. There's a lot of loss. There's a lot of happiness. There's a lot of rage. There's a lot of there's a lot. So all I'm going to pretty much say is I found the story absolutely fantastic to play. I really did. I loved the story from start to finish. I would have changed a few things because I don't feel that the characters did something in a human way. They did it more of the way that the story writers wanted them to do things, and I just didn't agree with some of the things. But ultimately, the story was absolutely fantastic. Online co-op Modes, features, and stability. There's no online. It is a pure offline story experience. Pure. Unless any of my viewers can correct me, but I didn't see anything to do with online on the game. There was no leaderboards from what I'm aware. It was pretty much all fully offline. Something that Sony seemed to be killing it right now with their story games. I mean, we had God of War, Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima. Sony are absolutely killing the stories right now. They really are. Purchase price versus digital price and value of content. My purchase price was $42.61. The digital standard price is $60. Do I feel value of content is in the game? For $42.61, hell yes, 100%. Would I have been happy to spend £50 on this game? Yes, I would have. I do feel this game has value for content 100%. 100%. I really do. With the collector's edition being $170 and the special edition being $70, you're going, if you want to look at what they offer you, I read through it real quickly. In the collector's edition, you get a shitload of stuff. You really do. But it's $170. So Google the collector's edition if that gets your interest. Find out exactly what it has so you can pretty much determine whether or not it's worth spending your money on. But I can guarantee, I feel myself, my opinion, that this game has value for content 100%. Microtransactions and DLC. I didn't see anything microtransaction wise at all. I haven't checked for any DLC on their Twitter feed if they've announced any sort of DLC on its way. Do I feel they'll do DLC for this game? Probably not. Probably not. I don't see where they would fit it in, to be honest. But if they could probably just extend the end part of the game itself. I think they should just leave it the way it is. I think the game is perfect the way it is. I really do. Don't change things. Don't try to alter things or extend things. Just leave it how it is. Yeah. I think they should. If they do DLC, I'll be surprised at what they do. If they do cosmetic DLC, then that's down to you if you want to go out and buy it. You know, it's completely down to you. Any additional notes taken? Full page. Well, after 53 hours of the game, of course, I've got a full page. Right. So. One of the biggest negatives in the game. Are we ready for this? No minimap. One of the things that drove me mad in this game, something that annoyed and bugged me so much, was the fact that there was no minimap, right? Now, some of you might retaliate and say, oh, well, you've got the wind to guide you and stuff like that, right? Let me just give you an example of why I want a minimap. This is just me, but there may be multiple people that will agree, and I'll let my chat as well agree or disagree with this opinion. When you explore the open world, it's all fogged up. The map is completely fogged and covered. As you're exploring, you're clearing the fog away from the map. Now, sometimes my OCD kicks in very badly. It's like when I played Mario Sunshine and my brain was telling me to clean up all the ink, all of it. So as I'm trying to navigate around the map to open it up completely, I find myself having to open up the map every 15 seconds. I'm riding around to make sure that I am going in the right way and I'm also clearing the map's fog. This game, in my opinion, badly needs a minimap. I 100% feel that. I feel it will not only help the players in opening up the map, but it will also help the players locating NPCs they need to speak to as well. Because sometimes they are awkward to find. Or not awkward, they're hard to find because they're not where they should be, or they're at the back of the area, or in a corner of the area, or they're even in a building and the icon is not even showing correctly. This game needed a mini-map. And I don't understand why they didn't stick it in. Especially with a game that has open exploration and a clearing of the map. I don't get it, but it desperately needed one, and I do count that as a negative, because I was sick and tired of pausing the game to see the map, pause the game to see the map, pause the game to see the map. It just got really bloody annoying, and it was a massive time waster as well. Day and night cycles. Oh god, it was amazing to watch the sunrise. Oh, it was. And the sunset, and the clouds go pink and ruby red, and then the nights. Oh my god, the day and night cycle in this game's amazing. Upgrades alter the appearance of the items. We've already spoken about that. Lightning and thunder weather mechanics were amazing. Already spoken about that. Jumping down and up from things can be very, very flimsy. We have died a few times because the character didn't do what they were supposed to do, and I've already spoken about that. Unable to make my own ammunition. So throughout the game itself, you're collecting bits and bobs, but being the samurai that you are, you can't make any arrows yourself. You have to find them or buy them, and I thought that was a bit weird. I really do. I thought that was a bit weird, and I thought my character should be able to make that stuff themselves. You're collecting the iron, you're collecting the bamboo and the sticks and stuff like that, so why can't I make the arrows? Or allow me to go to somewhere to use my resources to make them. But you don't, you have to pay for them. And I'm not going to lie, they are expensive. I think it's five supplies per one arrow. And at the beginning of the game, supplies are important to get. So I was very disappointed that I couldn't make my own ammunition. Quest givers don't appear on the map, speech bubbles, and tail quests. So this is something that really annoyed the hell out of me. I had to teleport to the villages from time to time to check to see if NPCs wanted to talk to me so they could give me a side quest, because they didn't appear on the mini-map. Oh, on the map, sorry. And that was, I think, a bad mechanic. A really, really bad mechanic. With a game that has full open world, all side quests should be visible on the minimap, in my opinion. Or the game should have made it a lot easier for those side quests to be found. Because half the time you will run past someone and not realize that that person wanted to speak to you because they wanted to give you a side mission. And I did not like the way they managed that system at all. I didn't. I really didn't. That is another negative that kind of wound me up quite a bit. Unaware enemies react and move away from bombs thrown seconds before they hit the ground. This annoyed me quite a bit. You can throw distraction toys, firecrackers, and the enemies will not react until they've landed on the floor and they've given off their sound effect to lure them in. And I found a great mechanic in killing a mass amount of them was to throw fire bombs in the middle of them all to blow them all up. And the second I threw it and let go of it, even way before it touches the ground, the enemies would all react to you have already thrown it. And they already move, dodge, or roll away. And I found that weird as hell and annoying as hell, because that didn't make any sense when the enemies were completely unaware of where you were. There were times as well that I didn't use distraction items and just threw a bomb, and they dodged, rolled, and moved completely out of the way, and it missed a few of them. And I was like, I was annoyed. I was really annoyed, because how the hell would they know I was about to throw a bomb at them? They need to fix that, in my opinion, because I think that's a broken mechanic. That shouldn't be doing that in my eyes. Force switching during combat is terrible. You learn different stances in the game, and when you've learnt them for the first time, the game forces you to switch to them during combat just so you can use them against the correct enemies that they're used for. It done it more than once though, and it got really annoying. The game wouldn't allow me to use the stance that I wanted to use all the time, which was the stone stance. I don't like the force switching. I don't. Just make it where if you do force switching, you do it just once. There were many times though that it would constantly tell me to switch into a different stance to take on the spearman or the shieldman, and I just didn't want to change. I wanted to be left alone. Lack or little, I think I worded that wrong. Decapitation. Now, being a samurai with an extremely sharp sword, this game wasn't as gory as I was hoping it would be. I'm not gonna lie. Some of the ninja moves that I did, I wanted to see arms being cut off. I wanted to see legs being cut off. Later in the game, you do get like an OP fear ability, which allows you to cut heads off, which is great, but you can only do that to leaders. You can't do that to basic enemies within the game. I think this game being an 18 rated, by the way, I think this game should have gone full gore fest. Allow me to cut their arms off, allow me to cut their legs off, their heads off, or cleave them completely in half and watch their top part flop on the floor while their legs keep going. I know that's dark to imagine, but I wanted that. I really, really wanted that in a samurai game. I really did, and I didn't really get it in this game, I'm not gonna lie. Lack of physical weapons to use. I am going to bring this up because Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, you pretty much utilize two swords and your arm gadget with lots of gadget tools. In this game, it's almost exactly the same. One sword, one small dagger for executions, two bows, one for light targets, one for metal plated targets, and your accessories. There are a lot of weapons in this game that I would have loved to have played with, like the heavy hammer weapons, the shields, the spears, the pole arm with the swords on the end of them. I don't know what they are, the glaives, or I don't know. But there were a lot of weapons in this game that the enemies use against you. Even a composite bow that they have that you don't get. But I do feel this game lacked main weaponry. And what they could have done is they could have tied those weapons in with the stances as well. So you change stance, you change weapon. That would have been really cool. Really, 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 really cool. Because I found that I upgraded my sword to maximum ridiculously quick. And then I had nothing else to spend those resources on. So I found it disappointing in that aspect. I really did. So I personally feel they could have done more melee weapons. I know you're a samurai. I get that 100%. But just because I am a samurai doesn't mean I can't pick up a polearm and start swinging that bad boy around. Just saying, my opinion. Plenty of collectibles to keep you occupied. We already scratched a little bit on that, but to give you a good example, you've got flags, records, bamboo training, poems, fox trails, artifacts, saunas, which it's like a hot spring. I didn't mean sauna. I mean you go around finding hot springs. But there are a lot of collectibles in this game, so good luck trying to find them all, because that's something that's going to milk your time. This is not going to affect the scoring, but this is just an idea. Maybe some Japanese ghost phantom nightmares, or tales that involve evil demonic spirits that you can fight in your dreams, or maybe in the open world. There wasn't any of that. I love that stuff a lot, especially as the Japanese are very much into their, their laws, their histories, their storytelling. I think that would have been really, really, really cool to add that. Oh, enemy variation could be slightly bigger. Yes, I'm not gonna disagree with that. I feel that you fight a lot of the same enemies over and over and over and over and over again, and the combat will start to get a bit repetitive after about the 30-hour mark. You'll start to master how to defend every single enemy that you come into contact with. So a little bit more enemy variation would have been nice, just to keep me on my toes while I'm in combat. But ultimately, like I said, once I enjoyed the combat a lot. I really, really, really did. I enjoyed it a lot. But with that extra little bit of enemy variation, some new enemies that you've not seen before, using different sorts of weapons, because the Mongol have no honor, man. They'll fight you in any style, in any way, to kill you. So there's no honor in what weapons that they're using, but you will be doing the same fights over and over and over and over and over again, and it will start to get tedious, I'm not gonna lie. Now, the end. The scoring and the recommendation. I score my reviews out of 10. I do use 0.5s as well because it helps. Sometimes a game's better than a 6, but not as good as a 7, you know? I've already wrote down the score in the book when I was going through the credits. So I already know what I'm going to give it. There was so much positive to this game. There really was. But at the same time, there are some negatives that we've spoken about. And some of those negatives do reflect the scoring. They do. So I am confident and happy to give Ghosts of Tsushima on the PlayStation 4. Do you remember the strong horse standing on his front? Yeah, that was a funny little. I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't. I think that's a model bug more than anything else. The horse model was on a rock, but its back legs were floating. That was because I teleported with the horse and it put me in a weird position, but it didn't break the game. It made me laugh a lot. It made the community laugh as well. There were some little finicky things like me falling through the floor, or I actually fell through the ceiling at one point and landed inside magically. It was amazing. But none of it was game breaking. None of it really annoyed me in any way. It was more of it made me chuckle, and the game just kept you going. So it didn't crash the game or break the game in any way. We had no game crashes. We had no boot to dashboards. We had none of that. So, Ghosts of Tsushima on PS4 earns, in my opinion, a fantastic and awesome 8.5 out of 10 with a massive recommendation from me. That is my opinion, purely my opinion, and I hope, let me just write it in chat, Ghost of Tsushima. God, my spelling is so bad. Sushima, a 8.5 out of 10. Boom. There we go. That is my scoring. That is my review. That is my opinion and my recommendation. I recommend you grab the game. I recommend you give it a go if any of this caters to you. And I hope more than anything, I hope this review has helped you to get a good sense of the game without any spoilers. You know, I hope I've given you enough info and enough ammunition, so to speak, to make a decision on whether or not you want to go and buy it, you know? But thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for watching this video. This is going to go straight up to YouTube tomorrow. I'll get it all uploaded for you guys. So for all the YouTube people, appreciate you. Thank you very much. And goodbye.